Good evening and a very warm welcome to Front Page on AIM. Good evening and a very warm welcome to Front Page on AIM Network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Tonight, power, capital, and code collide to shape the next frontier. From trillion-dollar milestones to billion-dollar alliances, the world's biggest players are redrawing the map, fusing AI with telecom, finance, and flight itself. Here are the headlines for tonight. NVIDIA has invested $1 billion for a 2.9% stake in Nokia, forging a landmark partnership to power AI-driven 6G networks with GPU-accelerated RAN systems, linking telecom infrastructure directly to NVIDIA's data center and AI factory ecosystem. A decisive step in merging connectivity and compute for the edge AI era. OpenAI has restructured into a $500 billion Pacific Benefit Corporation controlled by the OpenAI Foundation, granting Microsoft a 27% stake worth $135 billion and extending their partnership till 2032. But in a surprise twist, CEO Sam Altman receives no equity, reinforcing the company's mission-first governance model ahead of the AGI era. Apple has become the third company to cross a $4 trillion market cap while releasing Pico-Banana-400K, a 400,000 image AI dataset built using Google's Gemini 2.5 models, marking its quiet but strategic entry into OpenAI research and cross-stack collaboration. After UPI-powered agentic payments turned ChatGPT into a shopping assistant, Zomato has gone a step further, integrating its food delivery system with ChatGPT and Claude via Anthropic's MCP protocol, marking India's first true prompt-to-plate experience and cementing the country's lead in building an AI-native digital economy. And finally, in a landmark $1 billion partnership with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation, HAL will co-produce the SJ-100 passenger jet in India, marking the nation's first step towards sovereign aerospace manufacturing and signaling its early entry into the global civil aviation supply chain. Once, Nokia connected people. Now, it's connecting GPUs. In a move that stunned the telecom world, NVIDIA has invested $1 billion in Nokia, acquiring a 2.9% stake and launching a strategic partnership that could actually redefine the future of wireless infrastructure. The two giants will co-develop AI RAN and data center networking solutions, combining Nokia's 5G, 6G expertise with NVIDIA's accelerated computing stack from CUDA to Grace Blackwell. With this, NVIDIA is embedding itself into the global telecom backbone, one RAN at a time. Nokia is reinventing itself for the AI supercycle. Its 5G and 6G RAN software will now run natively on NVIDIA's Aerial platform, optimized for GPU acceleration and real-time inferencing at the edge. Think of it as turning every radio tower into a mini data center capable of running AI models on the fly. From drone fleets to AR glasses, this partnership actually lays the groundwork for AI native networks that don't just connect data, but compute it. At the core of this collaboration is NVIDIA Arc, Aerial RAN Computer, a 6G-ready platform merging connectivity, computing, and sensing. It's built to replace legacy basebands with GPU-powered systems that can actually adapt, self-optimize, and host edge inferencing workloads. T-Mobile US is already on board, testing AI RAN in live 6G trials set for 2026, and Dell Technologies is actually providing PowerEdge servers for the rollout. Together, they're actually building what NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang calls the digital nervous system of the 21st century, end quote. Why does this matter? Well, AI models are leaving the cloud and moving closer to where data is created, which is the edge. Telcos own that edge, and now Nokia plus NVIDIA are giving it intelligence. This shift turns telecom operators into AI compute factories capable of real time processing for billions of sensors, drones, and devices. The AI RAN market alone is projected to surpass $200 billion by 2030. And this deal positions Nokia at the center of that value chain. The timing wasn't random. The announcement dropped during NVIDIA's GTC in Washington, D.C., where Huang unveiled his vision of America's AI factories, a nationwide build out of data centers, RANs, and quantum linked GPUs. From Grace Blackwell superchips to NVLink 72 rack scale systems, NVIDIA's message was pretty clear. AI infrastructure is the new manufacturing, and telecom, not just hyperscalers, will be the next frontier of compute. By integrating Nokia's optical and switching tech into its architecture, NVIDIA ensures every bit of telecom bandwidth feeds directly into its AI factory pipeline. While unveiling his AI fueled telecom vision at GTC Washington, Jensen Huang also announced $500 billion in AI chip orders and 7 new supercomputers for the US government, sending NVIDIA's stock soaring 2.8% in pre market trade. The rally briefly pushed the company past a $5 trillion market cap, cementing its status as the backbone of the global AI industry. From powering hyperscalers to well wiring nations, NVIDIA's meteoric rise shows no signs of actually slowing down. Its GPUs have become not just hardware, but the currency of intelligence. Now, coming back to NVIDIA and Nokia partnership. This also actually has geopolitical weight, and here's how. As the US pushes to reclaim leadership in telecommunications from China, Nokia's European roots and NVIDIA's American muscle form well a transatlantic AI alliance anchored in 6G and sovereign compute. It's not just about phones anymore, clearly. It's actually about building the nervous system of AI powered nations. A decade ago, Nokia lost its phone business. Today, it's actually gaining something way bigger, a seat at the table of AI infrastructure leadership. With Q3 earnings up 9% year on year, a $3 billion cash reserve, and partnerships spanning N-Scale, Supermicro, Dell, and now NVIDIA, Nokia has very quietly transformed into a data and connectivity powerhouse. As CEO Justin Hotard said, the AI supercycle is accelerating demand for advanced and trusted connectivity. Nokia is uniquely positioned to lead this market. End quote. NVIDIA's $1 billion bet isn't about telecom. It's actually about the edge of AI. Nokia isn't just building radio networks anymore. It's winning the AI grid. From GPUs to RANs, from cloud cores to quantum links, the next industrial revolution will be wireless, intelligent, and accelerated. Nokia connected people. Now, IT connects intelligence. It's official. OpenAI is now actually worth $500 billion. Microsoft holds 27%, the nonprofit runs the show, and Sam Altman, the man who made it all happen, gets no stake. This isn't a fall from grace, not at all. It's actually the most calculated reset in Silicon Valley history. So, if you're actually ready, here is the breakdown. After months of negotiation and legal scrutiny from California and Delaware's attorneys general, OpenAI has officially restructured itself into a public benefit corporation, a PBC, called OpenAI Group PBC. It's now controlled by the OpenAI Foundation, a non-profit valued at $130 billion, making it one of the wealthiest philanthropic entities in the world. The move ends a 5-year constraint that limited how much capital OpenAI could raise under its old capped profit model. Now, it can actually take unlimited investment while their nonprofit retains mission control. Microsoft's stake is now worth $135 billion, roughly 27% of OpenAI, down from 32.5% before recapitalization, but still the biggest external holder. The updated agreement extends their partnership until 2032, giving Microsoft this exclusive Azure rights to all OpenAI models until AGI is verified, IP access for both pre and post AGI systems, and a $250 billion Azure commitment from OpenAI itself. In return, OpenAI gets the independence it craved, freedom to build products with third parties, serve APIs on non-Azure clouds, and even, well, pursue open weight models that meet safety standards. Microsoft can now actually build its own AGI, either alone or with, well, other partners, ending a clause that once locked it into OpenAI's ecosystem. It's actually, come to think of it, the cleanest detente in tech history. Separation without divorce. Here's the shocker. Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, gets no equity in this newly restructured entity. Last year, there were talks of a personal stake. This time around, OpenAI has confirmed none. It's actually a power statement, not a punishment. Altman doesn't need shares to shape the future. He now actually sits atop a $500 billion AI powerhouse that answers to a mission, not the market. The OpenAI Foundation now owns a growing stake in the for profit arm, meaning the more OpenAI earns, the richer its non-profit becomes. So basically, its first $25 billion fund will focus on this frontier health research, including open datasets for medical breakthroughs and AI resilience, creating cybersecurity layers for global AI infrastructure. So basically, in short, OpenAI's success now directly fuels humanitarian and safety goals, a self-funding loop where capitalism pays for alignment. This recap isn't just corporate housekeeping. It's actually a new governance model for AI, one where, well, a non-profit controls a for-profit engine, investors get returns but not control, and the world's most advanced AI company has a mission hard coded into its cap table. For Microsoft, it's a tenfold ROI and continued dominance over cloud based AI. For OpenAI, it's the freedom to build faster, safer, and bigger before AGI arrives. So here is, well, the final take. OpenAI just reprogrammed corporate capitalism, a $500 billion company controlled by a nonprofit, a CEO without equity, and a mission that literally owns the business. So if this works, it could be the blueprint for AGI governance. And if it doesn't, well, the most expensive experiment in AI ethics just began. Apple has just done two things that perfectly capture its paradox. It became the third company in history to cross, well, here it is, $4 trillion market cap. And on the same day, it quietly released Pico-Banana-400K, a 400,000 image dataset for text-guided image editing built using Google's Gemini 2.5 models. That's right, Apple, the master of secrecy, just went open. And it did it using its biggest AI rival's tech stack. Apple's valuation milestone isn't just a financial flex, it's actually a strategic reset. While NVIDIA rides the AI hardware boom and Microsoft dominates AI software through OpenAI, Apple is positioning itself where the next revolution begins. That is, data. The company's Pico-Banana 400K dataset marks a turning point in how Apple thinks about AI research, not as a walled garden, but as a shared foundation. It's a massive curated dataset built to train AI models that can actually understand and execute natural language photo edits. Think, well, make it sunny, remove the person, or don't shut front page ever, no, sorry, zoom into the signboard. So basically, in a move that surprised the AI community, Apple's researchers used Google's Gemini 2.5, which is Nano Banana slash Flash Image, models to create and evaluate the dataset. Each image edit pair was generated, scored, and curated through Gemini's multimodal evaluation loop, producing one of the most structured resources ever released for instruction based image editing. It's actually an odd alliance. Apple using Google AI to push open research, but it reflects a larger shift, and here it is. The new AI world isn't defined by corporate rivalry, but by cross stack pragmatism. When innovation demands scale, even Apple collaborates. Most existing editing datasets are either synthetic or inconsistent, making them well unreliable for building real world AI tools. Pico Banana 400K changes that, balancing diversity, quality, and realism, and even including multi turn edit sequences and preference pairs, where AI learns not just what good edits look like, but what bad ones are. For researchers, this means cleaner benchmarks and, well, faster progress. For Apple, it means something deeper, an acknowledgement that open collaboration is now the real competitive edge in AI. Apple released Pico Banana 400K under a CC BY NCND license. Basically, free for non commercial research use, but off limits for commercial applications. It's actually a cautious first step into the open source world, one that actually balances Apple's control ethos with the research community's hunger for accessible high quality datasets. And yet, the symbolism is hard to miss. As Apple joins NVIDIA and Microsoft in the $4 trillion club, it's finally signaling that AI isn't just about devices or chips anymore. It's actually about data. So, finally, Apple's trillion-dollar empire was built on closed ecosystems. Now, its next frontier, AI, might depend on how open it's willing to be. By releasing Pico Banana 400K, built using Google's Gemini, Apple isn't just contributing to research, it's actually rewriting the script, embracing openness, cross stack collaboration, and data driven innovation, just as it reclaims its place among the world's most valuable companies. So, basically, in other words, while everyone else is fighting over GPUs, Apple is quietly building the future of creativity itself. Zomato, the company that made eating out digital, has now made ordering in app less for your appetite. I had to do that. In one of the most quietly revolutionary moves of 2025, Zomato has launched its official MCP server, allowing users to order food directly from ChatGPT and Claude using nothing but natural language. No app, no cart, no user interface, just pure intent executed by AI. This is not a feature. This is basically a fundamental shift in how humans interact with the digital world. Through Anthropic's Model Context Protocol (MCP), Zomato's platform is now well callable by AI agents. You can type this, for example, get me something spicy under 300 rupees near MG Road. And Claude or ChatGPT will fetch menus, compare ratings, build your cart, and, well, even generate a QR code for payment, all in one chat. Zomato is no longer fighting for screen space, it's actually fighting for API priority. In an AI first world, the new distribution war isn't for app downloads anymore, it's actually for agent access. This isn't an isolated innovation, it's actually part of a much larger story. That is one, well, we covered right here on front page a few weeks ago. Let me refresh your memory. Earlier this month on front page, we told you about how OpenAI, Razorpay, and NPCI teamed up to bring agentic payments to India, where ChatGPT could pay merchants directly via UPI. That story marked the first step in building an AI native operating system, one that fuses language, intelligence, and transactions into a single conversational layer. You could actually literally ask ChatGPT, help me order ingredients for a Thai curry for four. Oh my god, all of this talk is making me hungry. Anyway, back to focus. And the AI connected to Big Basket through Razor Pay and UPI. It would actually find the items, compare prices, confirm availability, and complete the purchase. No redirects, no checkout forms, just talk and transact. That was actually the first handshake between AI and commerce. Zomato's move, well, it's the first meal. What started with OpenAI plus UPI payments is now actually scaling with Zomato's AI native ordering. Together, they show how India and not Silicon Valley is becoming the world's sandbox for agentic commerce. Three forces are converging, and here they are. UPI, the world's most advanced real time payment network. Razorpay, India's fintech backbone. OpenAI and Anthropic, bringing intelligent interfaces to the mainstream. Add to that Zomato. Well, the stack, and suddenly AI isn't just recommending food, it's delivering it. So, this is what actually it looks like when the internet evolves from being just clicked to being conversed with. For years, the tech industry obsessed over smoother apps and prettier interfaces. Zomato just skipped that evolution. And because in the AI era, your screen isn't actually the interface, your sentences. So basically, with MCP, the chat window becomes a control room for the real world. Behind the scenes, Zomato's APIs handle search, filtering, logistics, payments, all orchestrated through AI reasoning. In simple terms, the app layer is collapsing into language. The user interface is turning into intent, and Zomato understands that better than pretty much anyone. Zomato's push into agentic AI didn't appear overnight. Under Dipinder Goyal, the company has spent years building AI native infrastructure. From Nugget, it's actually in-house AI support engine that handles millions of customer queries a month, to Espresso, its open source document generation framework. The MCP integration is the next logical step, turning Zomato from a consumer facing app into an AI service layer for digital life. It's also part of Goyal's broader vision, the same one behind LAT Aerospace, his propulsion research startup, and continue his longevity science initiative. He isn't just building companies, he's actually building systems that scale into the future. This story was first spotted by Agnost AI, whose founder, Shubham Patriwala, demonstrated how Claude can actually handle the entire food ordering process via Zomato's MCP. I'm hungry. Get me something spicy under 300 rupees, and this time not MG Road. Let's go with, well, Hosur. Claude follows up and refines the query, fetches restaurants, builds the order, and shares a QR for payment, all through one conversation. No manual browsing, no login loops, no redirects, just seamless orchestration. It's not just user convenience, it's actually developer liberation, because once every brand exposes its services via MCP, anyone can build new experiences without redesigning the wheel. So basically, together with Zomato, these companies are building a multi agent economy where AI can talk to real world systems securely and intelligently. In this new stack, Razorpay provides the payments brain, UPI provides the national rail, Zomato provides the consumer endpoint, ChatGPT and Claude provide the conversational interface. India, by design, just became the first country to operationalize AI commerce at scale. So, if the browser was the operating system of the web, then ChatGPT, powered by protocols like MCP, could become the operating system of the intelligence age. And India, with its public digital rails and AI ready startups, is where this operating system is going live first. So, when we said on front page that, well, agentic commerce isn't coming, it's already here, we meant this moment. Zomato's MCP launch closes the loop. Now, the same chat GPT that can pay via UPI can also order your dinner. This isn't just, well, a new interface for food delivery. It's the beginning of an AI native economy where every product, service, and platform can be reached through, well, conversation. The user interface race is over. Ladies and gentlemen, the AI agent race has become. And India, with UPI, Razorpay, and Zomato, is leading the charge. The first country to turn that future into a working prototype. Once, India built fighters. Now, it's building passenger jets. In a landmark deal signed in Moscow, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited (HAL) and Russia's United Aircraft Corporation (UAC) have joined hands to manufacture the SJ-100 civil jet in India, marking the country's first indigenous passenger aircraft program since the Avro HS-748 era. The partnership goes beyond assembly. HAL will co-produce the airframe, localized components, and secure certification for Indian skies, a direct step toward establishing India as a sovereign player in commercial aviation manufacturing. With this, HAL moves from, well, being a defense contractor to a civil aviation manufacturer, embedding India into the global passenger aircraft supply chain. HAL's legacy is built on fighters, from Sukhois to Tejas. But now it's bringing that precision engineering to the commercial runway. The SJ-100, a re-engineered version of Russia's Superjet, will run on PD-8 engines, replacing its French predecessors and enabling complete local control over propulsion, avionics, and maintenance. Think of it as, well, turning India's airfields into aerospace factories, producing jets that can serve both domestic routes and regional carriers across Southeast Asia. From Bengaluru to Bali, this partnership aims to make, well, made in India a mark of reliability at 35,000 feet. At the core of this alliance lies a very clear ambition: bring affordable jet class travel to Tier 2 and Tier 3 India. The SJ-100's 100-seater configuration perfectly actually fits India's Udan mission, connecting emerging cities with efficient, low-cost, short-haul flights. Every successful flight will mean fewer subsidies, more connectivity, and an expanding ecosystem of regional airports and MRO hubs. India's skies are no longer a monopoly of Airbus and Boeing, not at all. HAL is betting on a future where Indian built jets serve Indian passengers. HAL's strategy mirrors what we've seen with, well, ISRO's SSLV handover, shifting from research and development to industrial scale production. The goal, here it is: make aerospace manufacturing as mainstream as maybe automobile manufacturing. In the coming phase, HAL will localize fuselage sections, wiring harnesses, interiors, and even build engine maintenance and pilot training ecosystems within India. This isn't just about planes, it's actually about creating a civil aerospace supply chain capable of competing globally. India's passenger market is booming, projected to hit 430 million flyers annually by 2030. Yet, nearly all aircraft today are imported. By partnering with UAC, HAL aims to reverse engineer dependency, building indigenous jets for, well, domestic carriers while exporting to friendly nations in the Indian Ocean corridor. The SJ-100 could be the template for future 100% Indian designed regional jets produced under HAL's expanding civil aviation division. This partnership, well, also carries geopolitical weight. Why? Because as global aviation shifts towards, well, regional self-reliance, India and Russia's collaboration ensures sovereign aerospace capability outside Western export dependencies. So by developing engines, avionics, and materials locally, India safeguards its aviation sector from future supply shocks or sanctions. This isn't just an MOU, it's a blueprint for independent flight in a multipolar world. HAL's partnership with UAC also marks a generational shift from assembling fighters to building passenger fleets. If executed well, this could give India its first certified export-ready passenger aircraft line, a new identity in global aviation, and, of course, thousands of high-skilled jobs in design, testing, and production. HAL once powered India's defense skies. Now it's powering its civil future. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on Front Page tonight on AIM Network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Front Page is powered by MachineCon 2025. Yes, it is an invite-only residential summit for GCC heads, exclusively brought to you by AIM Network. And of course, for right now, we're going to take, well, a short little break on Front Page. And I am going to say, think AI, and you're going to say, yes, that's right, think AIM. But we're going to be back with with Debunked. And we are going to be discussing data. And that will be at the center of the conversation. Please be back, because I just gave you a clue. And it's a fascinating, enthralling one that I'm having.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter. This is the era of AI, and we are the ones telling its story. Think AI, think AIM. We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter. This is the era of AI, and we are the ones telling its story. Think AI, think AIM.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Debunked. And yes, today we have a very special guest with us, our very brilliant tech journalist, Supreet. कैसे है?
Good, good.
Very
All
good.
good.
Supreet,
How are
I
you?
just want you to say hello to everyone.
Hello, everybody. You might have seen me when
yes,
Sudhi
yes.
has taken leave.
When I was
today
on
we're
leave,
here,
or for
yeah.
that matter, when I'm generally not as brilliant as Supreet, that's when Supreet comes in. But of course, the point here tonight is, Supreet, very quickly, it's
Yes.
very important for me to introduce everyone to what we are talking about today.
Right.
It is very important. It's
Right.
something which you have done a lot of research on and very interesting stuff. So, would you excuse me for a second while I introduce everyone to what we are talking about today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your permission. Tonight, we are actually debunking India's breakneck data center build out. Yes, Reliance's GW scale campus, Google's Vizag push, TCS's $7 billion bet, and a rush of hyperscalers plus pure plays. I'm pretty sure you've been following Front Page regularly and you know about all of this. But what's important is we're going to try to put all of this together for you guys, debunk certain things, and try to bring you to the front and center of this decision. Point is this smart nation building or a costly overbuild chasing AI hype? This, as I've said, is, say it again with me, Supreet,
Debunked by
AIM network. Yes. The compute shockwave for a decade. Digital meant apps and cloud seats as Well, Supreet has also talked about, I've also talked about. Now, it's gigawatts, chips, power, cooling, fiber, water, land, and grid hookups. So basically, what's fueling the frenzy? I'm going to be picking Supreet's brain on this. AI is everywhere.
Yep.
Model training plus inference, Supreet, RAG, co-pilots, agents. Sovereign data and latency is a big point, right? Will this help? Finance, public services, healthcare, telecommunication, the subsea plus edge. That's also another point to be considered. India as a hub between, well, MEA and APAC. The state policy tailwinds. It says land, green power, and capex invest incentives. The goal is to basically shrink the gap between idea, intelligence at scale. And now, of course, we have actually taken you through to what all we are going to be discussing. That was just the menu. Of course, the main course will be served up by our very own Supreet. Welcome to Debunked again, Supreet.
Thank you, Sudhi, for the introduction. I'm sure our viewers have a good context of what we're going to talk
Fair.
about
If
today.
they don't, then I've miserably failed.
No, there's a lot for them to unpack here.
Fair,
So at any moment they sort of step into the video, they're going to have a
Sure.
lot to sort of think of and see.
So
So,
the first one,
yeah, let's
which
begin.
pops up in my head, Supreet,
Right? Is
is the fact that we've discussed all of this.
yeah.
But the first point is, do we actually really need that many data centers? That's the first thing that everyone is probably wondering about.
Right.
There's such a huge push.
Right.
So that's debunk number one.
Yep. Look, I think that's a good question to start with, because every time you see these investments, 10,000 crore, 15,000 crore,
Yeah.
right? Beyond the headlines, people are wondering, wait, is this being put into good use, or do we need such investments?
True.
Because historically, we know these investments can just bump up, stock prices, sort of increase the pride among a
So it's
nation and
like
all
a
of that.
bubble or sorts.
Exactly, right. So let's address that first.
Sure.
Let's understand if we really have a demand. Short answer is that yes, we very much have. So you mentioned AI, RAG, inference, and all of that, right? Let's go a little step back and just think of how Indians are placed to even use these AI systems in the first place. People like me and you.
Very important
Right?
point. Yeah.
Now, that means we look at how internet is being adopted in India.
Correct.
Right? Now, if I were to, sort of show you the mobile data usage in India, right? So the mobile data contribution from India to the world in around 2016 was just around 13%, right?
Okay.
And this was when Jio was launched,
Sure.
right? And if you go
Further
back, it's around just 3% in 2012.
Wow. Okay.
But now in 2020, or let's say 2022, 2023, 24, it's stabilized around 21 to 20%, right?
It's a fairly decent.
Exactly. From 2012, it was 3% of world's mobile data usage was from
Sure,
India, but in
sure.
2024, you have 20% of that is from India. So you can visualize the amount of people
staggering
using
number.
internet,
Yeah.
right? And that means all of us, 20% of mobile world data usage is from India, and all
It's
of them
from India.
is from India, and all of them have access to all these AI apps that are hosted on the internet.
Sure.
So now we know there are enough amount of people who
Are using.
not are using the internet,
But globally,
exactly, yeah,
20% of it is from India.
from India. And if they make up their minds, you can get all of those into these AI services and apps and whatever that you
Absolutely.
mentioned before we get into AI. And also, an added factor to that is, the average wireless data usage per subscriber per month in March 2016 was less than 1 gigabytes.
Right.
And now in March 2025, that's gone to 24 gigabytes.
Wow.
Right? That's just exponential
That's
growth.
staggering.
Right? This is just to
That
further
number.
substantiate our point that there's enough internet usage in India and it's spectacularly grown.
Right.
Right? So now we're well established that common people like me, you, and like billions
Sure,
of people in
sure.
India are using the internet
Right.
thanks to Jio.
And again, I want to keep hammering in that point. 20%
Yep.
of the world of the usage is coming out of India.
Yeah, of the world's mobile data usage
Yeah.
is coming from India. Now, taking a step ahead, we have a lot of these enterprises, startups, all of them using the cloud services.
Sure.
Right? And the cloud industry in India is expected to grow by 20%, right, for the financial year 2030. So there also, again, there's a huge growth.
In terms of that pipeline, you have to
Exactly.
service that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in FY20, to 24, we've had a growth of 26%, right? And it's further expected to grow. So now we've very well established the demand by numbers, right? And now let's jump into AI, right? Obviously, think AI,
Well done.
We're going to talk about,
I like that
we're
little.
going to talk about AI now. It's very clear. We've said this time and
That
again.
was such an oblique plug-in.
I
You
mean,
didn't
we
do
gotta
it
do
at all.
what we gotta do.
Brilliant.
So now, time and again, we've mentioned that India has the second most number of ChatGPT users after USA.
Yes.
And recent reports also state that it has overtaken USA.
Yes.
Right? Some reports mention it's second or first.
But
But the
matlab,
point is,
neck to neck.
exactly,
Kind of.
it's neck
Somewhere
to neck.
there.
Right? And OpenAI takes India obviously very seriously.
Sure.
Right? I'm sure
They've
yesterday.
opened a Delhi office.
Exactly, and they're
hiring
launching
in
a,
Bengaluru.
Yep, and they're launching a free
ChatGPT Go
Go
is
for free
for
for
1
1
year.
year. So
On top of that, then there is, Perplexity as well.
exactly. So you have these interest from global players. They know that India is a huge, market, right?
Yep,
And it's
yep.
not just ChatGPT. We have Instagram. It's big in India.
Yeah, true.
And all of that. Basically, if you look at AI usage, India stands at the top ranks, right?
Fair.
So if I were to take ChatGPT as the example, as I mentioned, we're at the second, or some reports say it's first.
Fair.
But you get the point.
Yeah.
Now, Sudeep, we've established AI usages high in India. Startups and cloud ecosystem is growing.
Yes.
And then you have mobile data usage in India.
yes.
And when I say mobile data usage is high in India, wireless data usage, it means all of them are using it for Instagram, Facebook,
Absolutely.
everything. That
Absolutely.
encompasses everything, right?
Sure.
It's not, we don't have to bit by bit say, okay,
Correct,
Instagram
correct.
usage is this much and all
Yeah.
of that. So
So
that,
you've incorporated everything.
right. So now what we understand by this is that there's a huge data inflow and outflow by Indians, right? And Sudhi, this, and of course to the audience, this is the key factor that our entire sort of episode rests on, is that, listen carefully, 20% of global data demand is from India. I repeat that, 20% of global data demand is from India, but only 3% of it resides in Indian data centers.
Wow.
Right? So you
Right.
have a lot of data that's
Crucial
still
point.
coming in
Yeah.
from all of the other data centers
True.
in the world.
True.
All right. And of course, we're going to tell you all, where we got all of these data sources from. But let's just first
Eventually we'll
establish-
get to
yeah,
that, for sure.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering, oh, how did you get these numbers from? We'll get
Also
there.
that we are both brilliant, but
Yeah, we'll
we
get
have
there.
sources.
Right. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So now, what happens when you have a lot of data coming from across the globe is
Sure.
that there are primarily two concerns. One is the latency.
Yeah.
You don't want to have everybody today. We've gotten to a point where internet is free, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say internet is free. I would say
Almost.
yeah, almost, right.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't cost as much as
Yes.
what it is.
Remember the days?
I remember that. At least compared to that, it
Yes.
would be wrong to say it's free. But the point I was trying to make is internet is fast everywhere. Right? 4G
Agreed.
is really fast. I think the times of buffer is essentially over, right?
Such nostalgic
yeah,
times though. no?
yeah. Unless you're in a place where there's really poor internet, your video is not going to buffer.
Fair.
What's also happened is that our tolerance to buffer is also gone really low.
Really down.
If my
Correct.
1080p video is not loading in like instantly, I
Right.
get frustrated. I start like cursing my telecom provider. So latency, you are not my telecom
Okay.
provider. So latency is like very crucial. You're using AI, you want answers quickly from ChatGPT, Perplexity and whatnot. So latency is crucial, right? And for that, proximity to your users is like really important.
And the other obvious one is obviously, let me say it, it's sovereignty.
Yeah, sovereignty. But even with like latency, like of course you can resolve latency if it's a data center outside the
yeah,
country, but it
yeah.
takes a lot of money to do that,
Sure.
I assume. That is one thing. Second, as you mentioned, is sovereignty and privacy. You
Right.
wouldn't want your users' sensitive data to rest in other
But
countries.
Supreet,
Yeah.
before we actually
Right.
talk about the sovereignty point,
Right.
let's be honest, let's actually go ahead and tell everyone that it's not like that data is available to everyone just because it's coming from foreign shores.
Absolutely. Right.
It is private,
Absolutely.
but then still,
right.
like you were
Yeah,
saying,
you'd want that extra layer, right? You'd want that control.
Yeah.
I mean, geopolitics is
I
just
know.
shifting day in and day out. You can
some
never
people just
say,
keep blowing their own trumpet.
yeah. You'd never want to risk anything,
True.
right? In this day and age. So you'd want your data to reside in your country. That's the
Sure.
principle.
Fair.
many-
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's no two ways about it. And Indian regulators want that to happen.
Hmm.
For example, if I were to take at SEBI's 2023 mandate,
Hmm.
it required all regulated stockbrokers, all entities to store and process data within India.
Okay.
Right? Then similarly, you had RBI's 2018
2000, yeah.
directive that said that all payment data needs to be stored in India. Then you have the DPDP Act, which is the Digital Personal Data Protection Act by 2023. It sort of promotes data localization, while it does not force or restrict any companies, but it just promotes data
So
localization.
it's still not a strong
There's
dicta as such, but
it's still in the
a
works.
guideline.
It's still in the works. I think in Jan they released a draft policy or something, if I'm not wrong. So they're just really promoting all of these companies to localize their
Fair
data. So
enough.
there's a push from the government
So
also.
clearly the voice is that yes,
Exactly.
we have to localize.
Exactly. Right? So government is promoting data localization. I'm sure there's a lot of discussions internally between the government and the big tech companies.
Fair.
Like, look, you guys need to localize the data, right? We'll also get into more of the government's pushes later on, the other segments. But right now, we've explained all of those. Now, if you don't want to add
One
on or
final
something,
thought
absolutely.
before we summarize debunk number one.
Yes.
Let's say a data centers, as we have established, obviously there is the demand. That I believe we are on the same page.
Absolutely.
That there is the demand.
There is a demand.
For
clearly.
sure.
Right.
Okay. We are on the same page, but we
Exactly.
are not on front page. Right?
I mean, yeah, we're on
Have to
debug.
do that. So yeah. But the fact is, Supreet, if the data demand is there, why is it that we can't further rely on the data centers that have already been around? Not just, well, latency is one thing. It's still the rule is not come in. All those things are still in process. So why then not go ahead and say, okay, fine, yeah. Why don't we rely on that?
You mean rely on the external data
Yeah,
center?
yeah.
Look, the thing is, we as India, we're an extremely ambitious country, and I say that in all optimism and positive
For sure.
sense, right? From our space program to a startup ecosystem,
yes.
ISRO.
We're looking quantum.
Exactly. You have so many quantum hubs. I mean, you know it better. You
Yeah.
sort of tell all of the wonderful news to our viewers. So India is a very tech forward looking country, and coupled by that, you have a lot of people using internet in India. As I mentioned, I don't want to get into the numbers of how many people use internet in India.
But
I don't want.
I guess we have a fair idea.
The majority of it, right?
Yeah.
One, we have to be future ready, and the self-reliance aspect in India is obviously very huge, right? And here's the thing: if we were to go, again, this is a very important question that you put at the right junction here, because this leads us to the next segment that we really want to talk about. Is that why India? Why do we need more and more data centers in India besides the demand?
Because I'll tell you where I was connecting it with.
Exactly.
It's very simple.
Exactly.
Data is established, Supreet. A data center demand for sure is established.
Exactly.
That is debunked. We've established that for sure.
Right.
Concluded.
Right.
But what popped up in my head is the fact that do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the land? Do we have probably the policies to ensure that we are being able to serve that demand? Not just right now, as you said very, very rightly, that we have to be future ready. We are an ambitious country.
Absolutely.
And this is actually what I would like for you to tell you, that we have actually progressed. Shake my hand.
Yep,
we are on debunk number 2.
Yeah.
So this is number 2.
A very smooth segue to debunk number 2. So before we just sort of get into that, we've spoken about what's in it for the government, what's in it for citizens like India, but what's in it for these bigger companies? Now today, if OpenAI wants to expand to India, they must have some incentive besides the push or the pull that's given by the Indian government. Look, if OpenAI wants to expand, example, right? If I look at the data center development cost in India, it is quite low, stands lowest among many other countries, right? If you can see the graph here, you have Japan that stands at $14 per watt,
highest,
right? And then you have UK, USA, all around the figures of 10 and 11.
There.
Exactly. Then you have India that offers data center capital expenditure cost at $7 per watt.
So that's very lucrative.
Exactly, and that's one of the lowest. Exactly, and that's one of the lowest, because below that is China, but you know how China sort of has this firewall, the Great Wall of China around the global. So that is not something that comes into the context, very tight. But in India, that's open to the global tech ecosystem. It has a considerably low cost of deployment of data center. Right? And when OpenAI, or forget OpenAI, any US-based company, they want to establish a data center versus the US or India, they have it cheaper in India. And it's not just for the overall capital expenditure cost.
Economics trump everything.
Yep, that's true. Right. And if we dive into another specific cost where India is quite low, let's look at the electricity cost. Because trust me, data centers, nothing without electricity.
For sure, I was going to,
Right.
Well done, Supreet.
Right. Like how tech media is without.
Huge.
Like tech media is how without front page. I was trying to make
nice.
For your show.
Sorry. Stamped on your toes there. But I all have to say is, to kya hua?
Right. Wow. Okay. I didn't write these jokes. Let's look at the electricity cost, right?
Sure.
Now, electricity cost in India is also considerably low. It stands at 13 US cents per kilowatt hour, right?
Okay.
To give
Which is again-
context, the UK stands at a 45. Then you have USA at 16. You have 16 US cents per kilowatt hour. So for every kilowatt hour of supply, you need to spend like $16 in
cents.
the USA. So 16 cents in the USA and 13 US cents in India, right? That's
That's
quite
again
low.
very lucrative.
That's again low. But you also have lower price countries like South Korea,
China.
and Indonesia, but maybe the demand in India is like very low, very high.
Very high.
And
as compared to, let's say, an Indonesia, probably, or
exactly.
South Korea.
And a
There's
considerably
no point of talking about China. In terms of
exactly,
India.
and a considerably low cost of electricity also makes it an attractive prospect.
Fair.
Right.
Two
now,
things established.
Now we
Land
made
and
it clear
electricity.
that the capex or the capital expenditure for these companies are considerably lower if they want to come to India. That is one thing that we're offering.
Which is usually the case, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Supreet, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone who's coming in with a large investment into any foreign country,
Exactly.
let alone just India,
Exactly.
is the first thing that anybody will look at.
Exactly.
The economics of it.
Right.
That has to make sense.
Exactly. So what does India have? The entire theme of the second segment of our debunk. India has the right economics.
Right.
A very promising economic
Absolutely.
offering. Okay. Now let's talk about the current data center capacity, which gives us very good information about India's infrastructure.
Sure.
Right now, India's current data center capacity stands at 1.3 gigawatt. And mind you, this number does not account for the latest developments that have come from Google or like the Reliance and OpenAI partnership that's reported.
The 3 gigawatt.
That's obviously gonna supercharge this number to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But for context, for the sake of simplicity,
Sure.
the established capacity is 1.3 gigawatts. It's split across Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, Hyderabad, you have also Bangalore, Kolkata, and everything. Now, Sudhi, the interesting thing is each of these cities, if you can see in this pie chart, right? Mumbai accounts for, as of 1.3 gigawatt, 536 megawatts, right?
52%.
Yeah, 52%. That's because Mumbai has a really good financial ecosystem. All of your banks are there. I mean, you go to Bandra Kurla complex, you see all of your
finance capital.
NSE, BSE. It's a finance capital, right?
Very quickly for the audience before we move on, Supreet. Very quickly, gigawatt, megawatt distinction.
Right. So gigawatt and megawatt are basically large scale metrics that you use to define power. The smallest quantity of unit of power is watt, and you have 1,000 watts is equal to 1 kilowatt.
Got it.
Right. Then the upper stages of it is megawatt and gigawatt.
Okay.
Right. So you have 1 gigawatt is 1,000 megawatts.
1,000 megawatts.
Just like how you have 1 gigabyte is 1,000 mega.
Fair enough.
Right. So
let's quick clarification.
Absolutely. Right. So that's there. So out of that split, now you have Mumbai offers unique advantage. It's the financial capital, right? It has a lot of financial transactions going on, right? So the important thing is that Mumbai is on a coast.
Yeah.
Right. Now when you have
very I know where you're going with this. Fair.
Now when you have a global data center ecosystem, right? You need data to flow between different data centers in the world. I can speak to my friends in Europe, USA. A good part of that happens through undersea cable systems, right? And when I learned about this, it was surprising to me because when I was covering data centers, this is a very important factor that I learned. You need data centers across the world that are connected via undersea cables.
Sure.
And when it wants to connect to an endpoint, that data center has to be on a coastal area, right? That makes it very easy for you to connect the undersea cables. And Mumbai offers that advantage. Right? Besides being the financial capital, so it offers a dual advantage. It's a financial capital, a lot of opportunity there, and it's coastal. And it's coastal. So you need all the undersea data cables to connect onto data centers in Mumbai. Okay. That's also why Chennai's data center ecosystem is also quite high. Right? You have it at 113 megawatt as of the number that we mentioned of 1.3 gigawatt. And that Chennai also has a lot of coastal area. It has a lot of cable landing stations where undersea cables connect. And you have a great IT ecosystem in the southern region of India, great talent ecosystem at IIT Madras.
True.
A lot of startups that come from IIT Madras. We're very proud of. We have Aether, so many. Yeah.
But of course, for all you, for the audience watching right now, Supreet, skimmed over something which he was talking to me about earlier before we started Debunked, where he gave a wonderful example of a phone charger. And
exactly.
You're talking about megawatt, gigawatt. So I thought it would be nice. It would be very relevant for the audience.
Right. So before, I think that's a good point. So it's the easy way to understand megawatt and gigawatt. Megawatt is not the capacity, it's just basically the rate of supply, right? If I try to train my AI model or run my streaming service in, let's say, a lower power data center, for the sake of simplicity, let's say a 1 megawatt data center, the supply I'm getting it is 1 megawatt. It might be a little slow.
Sure.
Versus if I do it in, let's say a 10 megawatt data center, it's going to be much quicker.
Much quicker.
Similarly, how you have your 20-watt charger, right? That came with, let's say, your iPhone 12, charges very slowly. Let's say you have 45 megawatt on your iPhone 16, or let's say you have your 100-watt megawatts on your Xiaomi phones, it charges much faster. So essentially, you can do things faster on a higher rated data center.
Fair.
ChatGPT, you have GPT-4, let's say it took 1 year to train on, let's say, a small scale data center of like 1 gigawatt or something. It would take much quicker, take probably half the time if it were to be done on a larger scale data center, let's say a 10 gigawatt data center. So basically megawatts and gigawatts are basically the supply. Greater the gigawatt, greater the megawatt, greater the supply. Think of the fast charger analogy. You'll just get the idea of what I'm talking about.
Hence the point that I was I reminded you.
Right. I'm sure our viewers are clear when we just spell out megawatts and gigawatts. Exactly. Right. So now Chennai has, back to the city-based division. Now Chennai also has cable landing systems, and you have the
again the coastal aspect.
Coastal and the great tech ecosystem that's there.
True.
Followed by Delhi. You have the national government ecosystem that's there. A lot of sensitive stuff going on, so that plays the advantage. Then you have all of these tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Which is probably the reason why just tangentially OpenAI decided to
open
the office.
Right, because it's very easy to coordinate and communicate with the government that's out there, right? Then you have tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Of course, not missing out on Bangalore. Bangalore is not, the best when it comes to data centers because it has the ecosystem. Maybe not all the advantages that when it comes to data centers, does not a coastal area and all of that. But Bangalore too accounts for a good 81 megawatts after, Delhi. So each of these cities have unique advantages. When you go to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, they offer better land costs, better electricity costs because they are not population dense, cities like let's say
Mumbai is, man.
Yeah. Compared to Mumbai or a Delhi or a Bangalore, you have tier 2, tier 3 cities like your Visakhapatnam, Raipur, Nashik. These are the advantages that these tier 2, tier 3 cities offer over the tier 1 cities. Meaning
the reason I pointed out Mumbai simply is because 52%.
Exactly.
And I'm playing the devil's advocate here. You're talking about land, huge amounts of land required, setting up new data centers. So, Preet, Mumbai is very expensive.
Mumbai is very expensive, but the thing is, well-established players have already established in Mumbai. So, Mumbai has shown its demand too. And 3 population in Mumbai is obviously like increasing day by day.
Hence
so, it gets very expensive to set up new data centers again because the demand is well satisfied there. If you were to establish a new data center, want to minimize your capex and opex, probably get to a tier 2 or tier 3 city. Mumbai's costs have, because there are so many data centers already established, the market is very high, which we'll get into the nuances later.
Fair. Right. I just got excited.
Absolutely. So, and we have all of these advantages. We have the economics advantage, ecosystem advantage, coastal advantages, and all of that. And this has attracted many hyperscalers, as we can see. Microsoft, Google, AWS, all want to come in here. OpenAI wants to come in here. Right? Companies like Meta, all of them do it. Now, the parameters or the factors, characteristics are leading investments. Besides that, he spoke about the government push briefly, the push for privacy. But the government is also doing another push. Besides these abstract reasons like privacy and all of that, they've also launched a lot of policies to favor data center investments. If I were to get to a few policies, you have Tamil Nadu that offers a waiver for electricity duty
for 3 years.
For 3 years and stamp duty concessions.
Nice.
Noida and UP, they offer electricity duty exemption for 10 years. Right? Mumbai offers 100% stamp duty exemption. Right? Again, we're not government force.
It's interesting, na? Right. Every policy is majorly talking about electricity.
Electricity is very crucial, extremely crucial, right? And you don't just need electricity, Sudhi. You want uninterrupted electricity.
Correct.
Right? You don't need another AWS outage that happened recently. Although that didn't happen due to electricity.
But
we understood the effects of that. We don't want that to happen again.
Correct.
If your Instagram goes bust, nothing's going to happen. But if there's a critical, we know what happened.
BFSI, healthcare, finance.
We also know what happened, across the world, when power outages happen, a lot of
Oh, yes.
lives are lost.
Oh,
to
yes,
be
absolutely.
honest, you don't want that to happen. Electricity must be there and uninterrupted. So a lot of these states also guarantee uninterrupted power supply to data
Fair,
centers
fair.
as a priority. They put them under the critical list bracket.
Obviously.
States are doing a lot. They recognize, central government recognizes this as a key infrastructure build out, right? So government recognizes this effort and they're helping private
To ensure
yeah,
that it's nicely secured, padded
exactly.
up, and these guys are giving kid glove treatment.
Exactly. Absolutely. All of your states, right? While the image mentions Tamil Nadu, UP, Telangana, West Bengal, you have many states across the country, lots to name. All of them are big on data center policies.
Fair enough.
Right? Now, we understood all of this. Now, Sudhi, let's get to whether India has enough. I
In
can
terms
wrap,
of the installed
right.
capacity.
I can tell you, Sudhi, you know what? I'm interested to cook food. I will tempt
Are
you.
you, by the way?
Yeah, I mean,
When are you
I am
inviting me for dinner?
maybe after the debunk.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, maybe plan for the next debunk. So I will tell you, Sudhi, I have great dinner at home. I can attract you, I can tempt you, you can come to my home. But what if there's no dinner, right? That's crucial. There are all policies, there's good attracting factors for data center companies,
Correct.
but let me tell you, do we have enough, right? Now, total installed capacity of India's electrical generation has reached around 452.69 gigawatts.
Correct.
Meaning at any point, the electricity generation capacity facilities in India can generate 452.69 gigawatts.
Fair.
To put that into context, it's very, very good. And even in as of mid 2025, we have achieved zero power deficit, and India over the years has transformed from a power deficit to a power sufficient nation.
Yeah.
So that situation is very clear. And in May 2024 of last year, India met a peak power demand of 250 gigawatts. So in reality also it's being proven.
Fair.
Now, what do these numbers have in connection to data centers? The document that we're referring to from Kotak, which we're going to attribute it to properly in the end, says that total data center power consumption is less than 0.5% of India's total power generation capacity right now.
Fair.
That number is very small. To repeat again, so we're just not clear about which documents this might be the Kotak or the further SIFI documents that we're going to refer.
That's fine.
The point to be...
But it's coming from an established source.
Yeah,
basically.
coming from established source. The total data center power consumption is less than 0.5% of India's total power generation capacity.
Wow.
It might sound huge, the data center build out,
right.
but the overall thing is that it's just 0.5% of the consumption.
Right.
So even if the demand grows, if it goes to 1 or 2%, obviously we shouldn't let that happen.
Deter.
We need India's power generation capacity to grow
further,
and the data center demand to grow proportionally. You don't want one to just build up on the other. But obviously, I'm sure India has a good ecosystem. We're going to figure it out how to maintain. But as of now, we're fine. There's nothing to fear about in terms of, of course, right? India needs to improve on its electricity situation. A lot of cities in India still face power cuts, right? We did a story about how Ola launched a new, battery battery storage system.
Yep.
The fact that we need all of that means that many, power supply is not just power supply. You need uninterrupted power supply, and everybody needs that. Right now, I hope data centers are getting it. I hope everybody else in the country gets it
also
too.
Get it.
Right. So we need to think about it proportionally, right? And when it comes to land, India has abundant land availability and it's affordable. We have a lot to cover. So let's just put it simply. India has enough land, right? We're the 7th largest country in the world. Enough land in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Don't just look at the population, look at the population densities. There are many regions in India that have very low population densities, which lead to less, priced lands.
This brings me to one small point, and I want to bring that to your attention. I remember when I was having a conversation with Andy Feldman, right? We'd spoken about the fact that how data centers, we talked to him from the simple point of view of America. And he said that, even there, the problem was land was abundant. All of that was there. But in terms of the sheer amount of power which was required, was not in spaces where it was. So what it did was it positioned the fact that those had to be built by force. Where there's that. I was just trying to bring that to your notice.
Absolutely. So I'll get to that as well. So recently I was in a conversation with Amit Agarwal. He's the president of Techno Digital Reality. So they're also a new data center player. Also, they've been in the electrical industry since the last few decades. So he told me one thing. Power doesn't follow data centers in
Yes.
India. Data centers follow the power. So when a company wants to establish data centers, they look at all factors. Choosing a place where land prices are optimal, power density is really good, the power capacity is met, it makes sense to position the data center there for all the latency reasons. So all the factors are put into consideration, and it's not just you buy the cheapest land, you can't put
That's
up a
why I
data
brought
center.
this up, yeah.
Exactly. So India has enough land availability that are tailored towards data center where
That's
power
what I
generation
wanted
is
to
high.
understand.
Right now, when Google selected Vizag, obviously
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
coastal region, I assume the power density is also really high.
Right.
The power availability is really high for a company like Google to come
True.
in, right? That might again, I'm not saying it as a definitive, that might be a reason why it chose Vizag over other cities, besides the government's,
Course,
ambition and the excitement.
Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav also has hinted at Andaman and Nicobar.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
They might be pointing towards regions that have really good power, capacity or the
True.
power supply situation. So that obviously is factored in. So yeah, I think that's a very important question, right? It's not like you have cheap land,
Yeah, you just go
start
ahead.
building it.
Exactly.
Right?
Then
All of that, and also you need a good cooling system. You need good water. You need good. Basically, you just need all of these factors need to come together. So you have all of that in place. Now that is clear. India, we have enough electricity, enough land, enough policies, and all of that.
infrastructure policies backing
Policy,
it up.
economic
We've
situation.
heard, we've talked, we just mentioned the
Right.
Honorable Minister, who's
Right.
obviously hinting at the fact that all of those factors.
Exactly.
And we are being pushed to
Right.
go on to the next debunk 3.
Exactly.
Against our will, but we'll have to do
Right,
it
yeah.
because the producer is constantly, But
Obviously.
anyway,
I mean, we need to have a balanced stance and just
Yeah, I
talk
know.
about everything. So you can just,
you're siding with him. Anyway.
I don't know.
So, what brings me to this fact is we've established demand is
Okay.
there. We've established the fact that we have infrastructure, land, we have policy, all of that. But, let's take a step back, Supreet. Let's take a pause here.
Right.
We're all rushing into it. We're all excited about it. But what if, like you said, you'll
Right.
get me for dinner, but there is no dinner?
Or the dinner is there and it's maybe like I've just cooked too much dinner,
Correct.
losing
Now
a lot
are
of
we
money.
rushing into an AI bubble?
Right. I mean,
what if it doesn't work?
Right. Absolutely. I think that's a very fair question.
Yeah, and
Right.
this is, as mentioned again by the producer,
Right.
debunk number 3.
Debunk number 3. Yes. So let's debunk this thing, right? I fully believe it's a very valid concern to have whether AI breaks or not, because I have entered countless scenarios with AI where it fails to do the smallest of the calculations.
True.
Right? And you're betting big on the money.
Oh, yeah.
Betting big money on AI. So this is a valid concern. So let's address that step by step.
Sure.
First, right? AI as a long-term investment cycle, if you look at it that way, let's first establish the fact that not all long-term investment cycles or not all, capital heavy cycles or where valuations are going through the roof are not bubbles. Right? So this is not me saying I am no.
Fair.
Okay,
I
let's
love
clear.
it when you back it up
Right.
with
Let's make one
case
thing clear.
studies
We
and
are no
numbers.
experts, right? I'm not a
Obviously.
financial expert.
Yeah.
This is from Coetive Management from
Yeah,
US. They
fair.
published a brilliant report recently pointing towards a bullish case or a more rational case towards an AI bubble. So we're putting this here. First, a mental model to think about is that not all long-term investment cycles are bubbles.
Sure.
You had the industrial revolution, you had the specific to the US because they're the US management firm.
Yeah, yeah.
You have the mobile infrastructure, you have the personal computer, all of that. They're long-term investment cycles.
True.
Look, there might have been a few downtrends and all of that, but in the end, all of them have paid off, right? Highways were long-term investment cycles, they've paid off. Ups and downs, yes. You had the personal computer era, that has paid off. More recently, a more relatable one for a Gen Z audience, the social media or the cloud era has paid very well. Mark Zuckerberg, right, started Facebook. Obviously, he'd imagined it to grow very well, but not to this scale, right? When investors poured a lot of money into Facebook, Instagram, they've grown really well. So long-term investment cycle doesn't necessarily mean a bubble. We've established that. And AI by far is a long-term investment cycle.
But we are still in the very early stages.
Very early
of this
stages.
cycle. We are clear on that?
Yeah, very early stages, and we're a lot more excited than any other.
As compared to other cycles?
Absolutely. Lot more excited.
Why is that though, Supri?
Exactly. So before that, let's also point to another factor, right? Before we address that question.
Yeah.
Look, people keep telling this is going to be like the 1999 dot-com bubble where everybody wanted to get on the internet and that bubble eventually burst.
Yeah.
Now look, Cooperative management also says that the valuations of the largest tech companies compared to the national, Nasdaq average are comparatively lower in 2025 versus something like a 1999.
Okay.
The average is 28 times the average, the 28 times the valuation compared to 89 times or 67 times, sorry, in 1999,
Okay.
which is the PE ratios,
Yep, yep,
right?
yep.
So simply put, the valuations are high, yes, but they're considerably lower on average compared to 1999.
Okay.
Again, I might have fumbled on some metrics. I'm here to, I'm
No,
a
that's
liaison.
fine.
I'm a
That's
liaison
fine.
to the US, whatever market
Yeah,
investment companies and to the audience. So obviously, you can see the image on
And
our
he's
screen.
doing this for free.
You can see the image on the screen and you can make sense of it if you're a financial
Fair.
nerd. But what I understand from my readings is that the valuations of the largest tech companies are lower compared to 1999. Yes, they're
Fair.
highly valued, but they're not as recklessly valued. And the companies that are going for IPOs are lesser compared to, like, let's say 1999. A lot of companies were going to IPOs in 1999, but here it's much lesser, right? And so to bring the number from the Kuwait News report, 56 companies went to IPO in 2025.
Right.
The peak in 2000 was 501. So people are not recklessly going public. That leads us to one very
Clearly
important
something
thing.
smells fishy the moment the valuations are that
Exactly,
high. Everyone's
right.
rushing towards IPOs. Yeah.
Exactly. So the IPO market is good, but it's not 2000, like 500 and, over 500 companies went during the peak bubble. And so the one important thing is that those 2008 bubble, or the, let's say, even the 1999 bubble, look, 2008 bubble specifically, it was fueled by debt-based, money coming in.
Fabulous point.
Right.
Supreet.
And you
Fabulous
have
point.
governments involved.
Yes.
This is
So many bailout
yeah,
packages.
exactly.
Yeah.
This in 2025 is investments made from the company's profits and the company's earnings, right? This is just a reinvestment. It's not debt money that's going there. Of course, you have, and it's not, government is not pouring in money in all companies. Of course, they're coming into the picture with Intel and all the other companies, but it's not as high as any other bubbles.
True.
You have these companies. Microsoft invested in OpenAI. Look, Microsoft they've climbed to be one of the world's most valuable companies.
Yeah.
Good chunk of that was invested into OpenAI, right?
Correct.
Oracle, NVIDIA, they're investing their profits into companies like OpenAI and all of these Anthropic, all of these AI companies. So much of the investment is coming from profits.
We're talking about the Stargate project.
Exactly, all of that, right?
I mean, that's like huge
Right.
investment. That's the $500 billion.
Right,
investment.
absolutely. And if I were to talk about a few more pointers that sort of point towards a bullish case, is that ChatGPT adoption has skyrocketed, right?
Yes.
It's faster than any adoption that we've historically seen versus personal computers, cars, smartphones. It's beaten everything. Perplexity, right? ChatGPT as a reference. It's just bonkers. The people are adopting it.
Gemini.
Right?
Yeah.
People are buying AI products. Cursor is...
Which brings me back to that question which I
Right.
asked you a little while earlier. Why is there so much excitement, Supreet, in terms
Right,
of this
because
particular...
It's radically changed how our relationship with tech is, right? Everybody is buying products
Fair
like
enough.
Cursor.
Fair
Everybody is buying the enterprise editions. Enterprise startups, their valuations are skyrocketing every month.
Sure,
Every week you have a
sure.
new fastest growing SaaS company. And look, I will not deny that every enterprise AI adoption has
So
been
we're
successful.
standing at least on solid ground. We've
Exactly,
established
right.
that.
Right. And enterprises are also still figuring out, right? There are multiple credible
What
reports
if,
that...
okay, we go with everything that you said, because very quickly we'll have to move to the grand finale.
Exactly.
But I want to ask you this before we do that. What if everything that you're saying is nice and sweet and rosy, but it still all just comes down like a pack of cards?
Right.
What is the data center ramification going to be?
So one thing is data center, many people say we might be laden with overcapacity. There's an oversupply of data centers. Let's say once people realize it's not worth making AI investments anymore, a lot of your planned data center capacities might go to waste. A lot of your construction costs might go to waste. Investors might pull out money, and you have a lot of public data center companies, money might be pulled out from that market. So all of that can happen if things go haywire, touch wood. But there are pointers that says it's not going to go down, because so they'll give you a very interesting example, right? You have Microsoft Azure. When it started in 2014, not 2014, but let's say if I were to pick 2014, it gave you a -7 return on investment capital, -7. And in 2018, it reached a +6%. right?
Fair
And
enough.
in 2023, it went to a positive 33%. Cloud was something that started years ago. And today, the world's biggest companies are cloud companies. AWS is making a profit, right?
Fair
Record
enough.
numbers from Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. If you look at that as an analogy, yep, the tech is going to grow. Adoption is still slow. Companies are still facing troubles in including AI in their workflows. They're going to figure that out. People are buying AI SaaS products. The
So
reports,
it's fine.
it's fine.
It's
The
not
report
like we need
points,
to be.
yeah,
I think that's North Star.
exactly.
If we're following it, we're okay.
We're
going.
okay. At least Coetio management says that it's okay. Of course, there are a lot of
You
other.
also feel it.
That's my bias. I feel it, but there are a lot of respected individuals in the market who
Are
believe.
also believing in it.
So the only answer is we're going to look and watch.
Yeah.
We're going to wait and watch.
it's a calculated risk at the end of the
And
day.
here's the thing: all of these investment management companies, they have invested heavily in
Yes,
AI. They
yes.
would obviously
They
predict a
would be
bullish
coming
case,
from somewhere,
right?
yeah.
So we got to stay neutral. Look at both sides of the
Got
story.
it, got
But
it.
my bias is that we're going to be fine.
We should be okay.
I'm going to be fine. That's my opinion.
Which what brings me to the fact that,
Right.
by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Supreet had done a lot of work and a lot of research for this particular sample that he's going to showcase to all of us. No, it's
Right,
true.
right.
And I want you to wanted to congratulate you on
Alright,
this because
thank
you've done a
you.
lot of deep research. All of everything that Supreet has talked about, he is going to showcase that. I would request you, because of the paucity of time, Supreet, you'll need to showcase it fairly quickly.
Right.
in
That's
a
also
concise manner.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now let's get into how all of this come into practice.
Sure.
Right now, a very huge data center company in India called Sifi Infinite Spaces. It's a subsidiary of Sifi Technologies, which is already listed in Nasdaq. Right. They were a huge name in the India's internet revolution. Now Sifi Infinite Spaces is a leading player in India's data center ecosystem. They have sites across the country. Now Sifi Infinite Spaces is going for an IPO. They have released a DHRP document which means that they have detailed every single data point because they're going to the IPO, and that is brilliant because now we have all the data points to tell the
Access to
audience,
understand it. Fair.
right? And a big chunk of this coverage is coming from that report.
This is basically the case study.
Right. So this is Sifi's DHRP, right? Now let's look at how all of these come into play.
Sure.
Now, Sudhi, let's look at how much does it cost to, how much does it take to operate all of these data centers, right? Now, Sifi Infinite Space is going for a 3,700 crore IPO. Now, they say that a traditional data center build takes 18 to 24 months, and a modular one just take, when you establish smaller and expand as you go, takes 6 to 12 months, right? And out of all the costs, 60 to 65 goes to your power optimized design, which includes your electrical, mechanical, and cooling systems in place. That's 65%. 25 to 30 is for the cost of land. 4 to 6% is the high voltage and the substation infrastructure that you need to put in.
Power.
Yeah,
wow.
right. For all the geeks and nerds out there, this is the cost division that's out there. Now, you might ask, Sifi for context has established a lot of data centers in India. How has the utilization been? Now, let's look at this table.
And of course, for all of you, it's important for us to give you that information that Sifi is obviously talking from Sifi's point.
Sifi's perspective, because this gives us a good idea of how the demand is among a large player. Yeah. Now, when we talk about, let's say, Sifi put in a 300 plus megawatt data center in Chennai, they don't put in all 300 megawatts of capacity, supply capacity at one go, right? As they get more customers, they're going to expand in phases.
For sure.
Right. Now, in the Rabale Towers in Maharashtra, in Sifis, the built capacity is 21.64 megawatt, installed is 21.64, and they have a nearly 98% capacity utilization. Similar cases with Tower 3, Tower 4, Tower 5. What I'm going to tell you is that demand is there, utilization is also there. There's been good utilization.
There's no gap.
There's no gap. At least for the ones that are installed, it's there. These are very future-looking companies, so they have capacities planned in case more and more players come in. So, right, that's a very future-looking outlook that all of these data center capacities have. Next, now we look at the Chennai 02 data center, which was recently announced in April. The total estimated project cost was around 1,202 crore rupees. And for that, the plant and machinery cost is a major one, took 915 crores. So you sort of understand, 915 crores out of the 1202 crores was for plant and machinery. Now, Sudeep, plant and machinery out the way, can you tell me the amount that Sifi paid to the Tamil Nadu government to acquire the land?
You're talking
or the
about
rent
in terms of The rent per
The
square
rent.
meter, square feet.
Yeah, the rent. Just the rent for the overall land.
We
Just
don't know. Maybe 5,000 rupees per
that's still a lot, because I'll tell you they're just paying
5,900 crores.
no, just 1 rupee.
You serious?
Yeah, that's 1 rupee, because this is the promise that many states have. They're offered the land at
Wow.
1 rupee per year for the first 92 years of their lease, then the 2 rupees for the final year.
I believe every government should do this.
Yeah,
They should take
that's
a page
because
out of this
governments have a
book.
huge incentive. They pay. Land is again a very nominal,
But
negligible.
if we hark back, if you
Hmm.
remember, you showed me that data in terms of Noida, in terms of Bombay,
Exactly.
in terms
Yeah,
of Tamil Nadu. Governments were offering serious amounts of subsidies
yeah.
for both power and land.
Exactly.
But this is remarkable.
This is remarkable, because Tamil Nadu, if they give the land for such no cost situation, they have a lot of incentives themselves. Talent is going to come in.
Oh yeah.
State is going to be a tech powerhouse, right? They also have a lot
So
of
many
gain.
other auxiliary industries are going to come
Exactly.
into the picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and of course, they paid a 22 crore of one-time, payment for the 93-year lease period. That again is a
That's
nominal.
fair.
And if you look at the Rabale Tower 11 and 12, the original lease from Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation to the sublessor, right? The guys who gave the land for SIFI, they paid around 33 crores. And SIFI is paying a certain deposit, security deposit, and they're paying a variable rent of 9.5% of the yield to Maharashtra government. So
Also,
Maharashtra
it's
government.
relevant for me to add this little
Hmm.
factoid that Nara Lokesh also gave land to TCS.
Absolutely.
At a
So
very nominal price of
absolutely.
1
So
rupee 90 paise, or sorry, 90 paise. Not
right,
even 1 rupee.
right. So that's a huge factor in states coming out, right?
Sure.
You've seen all these policies come to reality now. So Maharashtra, obviously, they have a different payment structure. They have a more dynamic payment structure, right? So there you see the government policies coming into play. That's the segment that we're talking about. Now, SIFI in their document have also put in a overall ecosystem picture, right? Now we spoke about data centers moving out of Mumbai, not moving out, diversifying
Yeah,
away
but
from Mumbai.
We've
The thing is,
established the capacities,
exactly.
let's say, in terms of full out.
Exactly. Now, you have a premium cluster in, like, let's say, Mumbai, Hyderabad, it exceeds 3.2 lakh rupees per square meter.
Wow.
Look at the mid-range clusters like Chennai or seriously in Chennai,
1.1
goes to
lakh.
1.1 lakh to 2.8 lakh rupees per square meter.
And I'm very excited about the value cluster.
Value cluster, you would go down tier 3, tier 4 cities, it goes as low as 10,000 to 11,000 rupees per square meter.
She's so attractive.
Exactly. So the tier 3, tier 4 cities are very attractive for data center players.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
That is clear now.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
how these prices have come into the picture, how a company like SIFI is making use of these benefits.
And this is all available. This is basically public knowledge,
we're going to
public
link
data.
all of that in our
So
description.
essentially what Supreet is establishing here is he's just linking up all of the points that he had made earlier.
Right.
And he's now backing it up with data which is public, and you all can also go ahead
Absolutely.
and verify and ratify.
Absolutely. And just to make it quick, power again was the largest expenditure for SIFI, accounting to 44% nearly in fiscal 2025. The rest of it, 8.65%, was for your heating systems, electric, building management, and civil infrastructure maintenance. That was the other part, right? So we have a good idea of how much or what aspects the data center companies need to spend. Then you have different spicing. I'm hungry.
You're hungry.
Different
Wow.
pricing.
Inviting me for dinner.
Yeah, different pricing models. You are a customer for my data center. There are different pricing models.
Sure.
Space-based pricing. Look, I need 2-3 racks. I need a full rack, whatever. You can buy spaces. You can buy power-based pricing. I need these many kilowatts. You're very clear of how much you're going to use. SIFI offers that. Then let's say bandwidth-based pricing. Then you have a hybrid model where you have, I need a space-based and a power-based, pricing put together.
Understood.
Right? Yeah. So you're feel free to sort of customize. So they have all of these dynamic pricing based models, and they also, their AI ready pricing
will be
absolutely, it's also active. Now this is a very important point that we missed earlier. All of the data centers are extremely crucial for AI workloads. To put it short, I'm sure all of us, all of our audience know, GPUs are in data centers.
Yes.
You use ChatGPT, routes through data centers, and it's going to come back. It's going to use all of these GPUs. You have Yota, Next Gen, SIFI, Control-S, Nextra, have Reliance digital connection, and all of that. They're all big on AI data centers. All these AI data centers have AI hardware to support your AI workloads. So SIFI's AI ready data center campus offers a pay-per-use pricing model. You're going to use these many hours, I'm going to bill you for these many hours, which is fair. Because AI workloads are unpredictable, right? So they're accounting for that also. Now we have a little idea of how these pricing models also work. This is just to give an idea of how a data center works. Right, so now we have all of the pricing models. Now,
so as far as the IPO is concerned,
right,
in terms of the fact that it's making sense for them to actually be forward looking and moving forward.
Absolutely.
Sorry, you were just going to add something.
One important point that all of us have missed, we talk about tech a lot, we use a lot of internet, sustainability is really important.
Very valid point.
Folks, this is a very important point that personally I love, is that 58.69% of the power capacity used at SIFI's Mumbai data centers over the last 12 months came from renewable sources.
Wonderful.
58.69%, more than half of its power capacity used at SIFI's Mumbai data centers.
You're looking at a green footprint.
You can agree. Every company has an incentive for renewable
Nice.
energy. It's not just the caring for the environment. They're going to spend less with sustainable and renewable energy sources. There are incentives on both sides. Companies, data center companies are going big on sustainability and green energy. It's an incentive for the environment. They're going to spend less on renewable energy. Works both ways, right? So I am worried about the environment on a very serious note.
So is I'm sure everyone watching.
Everybody is.
And I believe with based on all of those factors that you just talked about. But honestly, Supreet, I have to thank you for this, because it's genuinely been a very deep dive in terms of trying to establish the fact that India definitely is on the path and is on the journey.
Exactly. And I'll tell you why. I'll just take 10 seconds, and obviously audience is spending a lot of time with us, right? This is going beyond our normal programming time. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because, dude, every headline comes in saying we need 15,000 crore of investment.
Yeah.
We need to, at a certain point, need to dig deep and understand what is this investment even doing? Is this just the vote bank? No, many people are saying, oh, Vizag's getting just the vote bank with Google data center. No, right? It's a very important path for a future, India's prospects, right? So now we just wanted to put a really good idea as to where these investments are going. Data center boom is sort of new in India, right? It's real. Next time you watch a data center announcement, you want to remember that you heard all of these here on Debunk. Probably want to come back here. We took more time, that's okay.
But that's fine.
Yeah. Feel free to sort of come back again. Right.
Imported a lot of knowledge, hopefully.
Right. So that is all I have for today, right?
My God, you've unpacked so much.
That's basically all of that. Again, there's a lot more to focus on.
We'll get into that.
Is data center going to bring up new jobs?
We will for sure.
Right? How is the expansion going to come up? There's a lot of factors. As a starting point, we've had more than enough. Many might say we've hosted a welcome.
We've impressed everyone. The fact that, India's data center wave isn't reckless. That's very clear in terms of this discussion. The industrial policy for the AI decade. And of course, the SIFI Infinite Space is going to IPO is a huge signal of this, as Supreet has established, and both of us have established. US-based big tech companies are coming to India, and Indian data center companies like SIFI Infinite Spaces are going for an IPO. Real shift. This is not just vapor.
Absolutely.
This is not politics. This is not vote bank. Demand is diversified and it's sticky, not limitless. Sitting, power, and, water are hard constraints. Execution mode, winners master, PUE, PPAs, grid math, and staged capex. The workforce moment, that's a big one as well. The bottleneck is skilled trades and operational excellence, not just GPUs. India's question isn't actually should we build. That's where we started, and this is where we've reached. Where, how efficiently, and who locks in the cheapest watt per useful token? Well, this is debunked by AIM Network. Before we finish, we have to credit, as always, the sources of information that Supreet had mentioned. These are all for public view. I would let you do the honors. These are the sources that you had researched.
A huge thank you for Savilis, Kotak Mutual Fund, and SIFI Infinite Spaces DHRP document, because this makes it real possible for us to break down all of this information. If you lost us at any moment of time, we'll have all of these linked in the description for the standalone video that's going to come out after this stream. Please feel free to click and watch all of the data on your screen. You're going to get a better idea if you want to do a deep dive.
Sure.
Huge thank you for all of the people on X, on social media, for leading me to this research. I'd like to specifically thank credit where it's due, Rahul Mathur from DVC, who had come to our show. So he initially shared all of these, the Kotak Mutual Fund document. So I found it from his thread. I'd like to credit where it's due, and he's been a good starting point for me to dig deep into these documents. So that's that, folks. That's Debunk for the day. You guys have
of course,
had a long time with
one
us.
person which we don't thank enough, Amit Rajanayak.
Absolutely,
he's the man,
powerhouse,
the maverick who puts a lot of the method into the madness.
Right.
And of course, finally, saying goodbye on Debunked, but pretty clear and pretty sure to say this, and we are right and we are bang on. India is ready, and India is definitely going to move onwards and upwards in this wonderful road of data centers.
Right.